Lotus. It's a pretty phenomenal show you've created.
It's killing me, but it's a lot of fun too. As the director, it's very depleting because it's a big cast and you want to show up for everyone. On the second season, I got so run down afterwards. There's never a break. Like, the conditions were intense. It was scary. I was like, I gotta get in better shape. I got into the whoop and people got competitive. 10 or more of the crew were all in the same whoop group. So like everybody was working toward getting healthy. It also was like a very communal kind of thing. Honestly, that's why I'm here today. I just feel like the whoop was part of the reason I got through it.
Okay, Mike, Hoho, welcome to the Whoop Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So, Mike, I'm a big fan of White Lotus. I gotta say, it's a pretty phenomenal show you've created.
Well, thank you. It's killing me, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun too.
What was the inception of the idea?
Well, what happened was it was during the pandemic and HBO was very low on content because all their shows had been shut down because of COVID. They were looking for a show that would have very little risk for that kind of shutdown. And so they came to me and were like, can you come up with a show that's very simple, like almost like a Zoom show, like putting actors on a Zoom or something. I have a place in Hawaii and there's all these hotels that I knew that were basically abandoned because of the travel restrictions. And so then I was like, we could probably take over a hotel, maybe do a little hotel show or something. And I was just like eager to get out. I was just very stir crazy. I was ready to do anything. So like it was kind of a flyer situation, and then it just, I don't know, because when it was released, there was just not a lot of content, and so I don't know, it just got a lot of attention, and so that was nice, and then it kind of continued on, and it's still going
For sure. I stayed in the Four Seasons in Hawaii in early 2021, and I think your show must have come out shortly thereafter, right?
Yeah,
because I remember recognizing it.
Yeah, we probably just had evacuated from there. We did some reshoots in early 2021, so you might have just missed us.
An amazing theme I feel like of your shows is the depth of the characters, and I'm curious how you go about creating these characters.
I mean, that's the thing that's the funnest part for me, is just like trying to like get in the heads of different types of people and trying to do something that feels credible. That's nice of you to say. I want people to feel that way, but it's always subjective whether I'm successful. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just multiple personality disorder or something, but I just like to express myself through different kind of voices, and that's something I've always liked to do.
Do you have favorite characters you've created from the show?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like Jennifer's character was fun to write for her. It's fun to write for somebody that you know. So like I knew Jennifer and I wanted to write something for her. So that was something that like I enjoy writing in her voice just because I spent so much time with her, and it's not her voice exactly, but like I can see her, saying those lines and stuff. So that's always fun. Like when she comes on set and she's doing it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. We're like, yeah, it's so. And then obviously that it was she was so embraced and like won all these awards and stuff. It was fun. It was fun to be a part of that.
So that's an example where you've got an actress in mind and you're building the character a little bit with the actress in mind.
Yeah.
And then I imagine in a number of cases you've got a character and then you need to cast it.
Yeah, mostly it's that. Mostly it's the latter. But like in my career, I'd become friends with, like Jack Black was my next door neighbor, and so I wrote School of Rock with his voice, and it's certain people that I'm actually friends with. It's fun to write for them, and then mostly it's just auditioning people and trying to find the right person for the role. But it's usually a little mix.
The guy you got for Armand in season 1, I thought that was like a tour de force performance.
Yeah, he was great.
I
But
really enjoyed that character.
yeah, he was an audition. I didn't know him before, and so that was just that worked out well. But yeah,
I think another thing that White Lotus seems to do, and maybe it comes back to the simplicity of the, sort of origin story, which is, hey, we're just going to be in a hotel and we're kind of forced to that location. But it feels like you do a great job building tension and just like having a little bit of patience to the show. I watch a lot of shows, to be fair, and most of them don't have these little quiet periods that
yeah,
White Lotus has, where you're sort of taking in the scenery, or you're watching a
yeah,
character sort of foozle around a little bit.
yeah.
I,
I mean,
I,
some people are like, "This is boring." Originally, the idea was like, the first season there was very little plot at all. There was like no plot, right? Except
yeah,
like maybe the
true,
last two episodes or whatever. So I was like, we should just do it so it feels like. I mean, it's basically just people having dinner. But I was like, you gotta have, like with the music or just something, you just want to feel like there's gonna be like a human
yeah,
sacrifice later or something. You know what I mean? Like just
right,
amp it up, almost overblown, where it's like they're all going to be sacrificed to the gods or something. That was the original intent of the show. And then as time has gone on, it's like this season, you'll see it gets very crazy and very plotty. And I just felt like I didn't want to I wanted to cool the jets at the beginning to let it kind of,
let it
where you're
build.
just like, let's go, like, where is this going? And then it just goes. And you hope that the audience has enough patience. After this last episode, people are like, come on, let's go. So it's like,
Yeah,
I can tell people are like ready, but like, it's kind of fun to like, just draw it out.
I think it works. I think it
Thank
works.
thank
I
you.
think it plays with the whole one episode a week. You can't really binge watch White Lotus, right? You
Yeah.
gotta wait a week.
Yeah.
And so there is that gradual build.
It's definitely fun as a creator to read people because like the longer people have between the episodes and the longer where they're not binging and they don't have the answers. And this season we didn't give the last episodes to the actors, to the press, to the reviewers or whatever. And sometimes you take it, it was a debate because it's like sometimes you're like, oh well, if they see what we're doing, maybe they'll champion it more. Because the longer you like drag it out, the more people like have theories and they start to build a relationship with the show in the downtime, and so that's kind of fun to watch that play out.
I saw that happening with season 2, like around Greg and like
Yeah,
Tanya and the family dynamic. So I think that was working. I also love your use of these little creatures or gargoyles or whatever.
Oh
You'll
right.
zoom up on some kind of ominous little figure at a hotel. It was particularly good in season 2. I'm
Oh
trying to
yeah,
remember what those
all those
little
tested moros. Yeah,
little Medusas or
they're a
whatever
little
they were.
They're freaky. Yeah, those tested moros.
And you got it going with the monkeys this season.
Yeah, that was just kind of like they were at the hotel, so I was like, we got to roll on these things. That was just something that like just kind of in situ was there.
So it feels like you're in the back of your mind, you're saying, I want to create build. I want to make this have like a dramatic energy. And then when you get there, you're kind of figuring it out as you go a little bit as well. I mean, you just saying that you showed up and you saw the monkeys and you're like, oh, we got to shoot the monkeys.
I'm a writer, so like I'm used to coming into it as a writer. So I obviously spend a lot of time on the scripts and make sure like the architecture is there. But I've had enough experience now as a director where I realize the best stuff, it's better if you're flexible and if an actor comes and they're not exactly what you thought or how it was supposed to be written, that it's better to kind of like mold it to what you have instead of getting too rigid about what you wrote. And the same as with the locations or just as things come, it's like you feel like I just find it funner to embellish and create and adjust based on what happens. I think you make everybody miserable, and you're miserable if you get to like, rigid about what you wrote and what you're trying to do. And so like I just think it's better to be, like use the place, use the actors, and be flexible while still trying to like keep one eye toward the thing you were always trying to do and the script and all of that.
Do you think most directors are more rigid in their approach?
Well, I think writer directors sometimes have that reputation because usually writers directors that come in as writers, they're what I mean, like, and they
Yeah,
like it can get very like precious or particular. And then sometimes I think when directors are interpreting, I feel like it's a benefit to have written it because then I can be like, I can check with myself and be like, it doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, or whatever. I can be, I can kind of be more loose. I think sometimes directors, it's good to be able to be creative in the moment. And sometimes, I mean, great directors can do that. And then I think that sometimes
sure.
directors are a little bit like intimidated to change things, or they change things. Everybody has their own process.
I would say I think it comes through in watching it. Like
Thank you.
there's a certain first of all, there's a certain confidence I feel like that's communicated from the show, just in the way that you do kind of space it out,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
and
cool.
you leave people like wanting a little bit more, and then you also like allow the camera to sort of sit on a character for what feels like a second or two longer, and again, that just feels like a confident thing to do.
I just, the truth is, it's funny because when I watch other TV, I'm like, because I don't watch a lot of TV, and then I realize how some things are just like the whole episode feels like a montage or something. Like I'm like, this is like sad, I guess. I definitely don't want to bore people, but maybe maybe it
No,
depends on the
I don't think
taste.
you're boring people, and I'm sure
But
that I'm
like it's
sure
like
that
I try to pace it up as much as I can, but I like to feel like we're in the room and like you're there, like as opposed to like something that feels very
totally.
like choppy. I guess
No,
that's
I think it's really strong, and it reminds me again. Like, what do I know about film? But it reminds me a little bit of romantic comedies in like the '90s, where there was just a little bit more like development and a little bit more reliance on the script, and there was like um, just sort of like a steadiness of the development, if you will. Whereas a lot of shows, like I don't know, like a Netflix show, it's like just stimulation.
yeah.
You're kind of like spinning a little bit,
Well, I
and
think people are doing so many things while they're watching TV. There's a lot of times where I'm watching something, I'm like, this just is like an assault. Like I don't even know what's happening. Like I don't know. So
yeah. Talk a little bit about the experience of like, okay, you get the cast and the crew, and now you're like taking over, a hotel in Thailand or a hotel in Hawaii. Like,
it's cool. I mean, it's so unique. It's such a like when we got to the Maui Four Seasons for like a week or so or two. It was just me and two producers and one of the producers' wives in the entire hotel. It was fully staffed because that was COVID.
pretty amazing.
But
Yeah.
like, yeah, we do buyouts, so like we kind of take over the whole hotel, and that's very, that's the very cushy part of it. I mean, for me, like I'm very stressed most of the time, which probably will be a good segue to the Whoop. But like, I feel like I'm not, like I see people out there on the beach, like the cast enjoying the beach, and I'm like, that looks cool. This is cool, but I'm like sitting there, like, yeah, with an N95 mask and like, yeah, just on, glued to the set all day. But even then, like, Ho and I would like, we got jet skis and tooled around in front of the, like, it's like, so it's like, there's definitely fun moments that you're like, this is so cool. I can't believe I get paid to do this. I can't believe they're letting us do this. Mostly, I feel like I'm watching people have those moments from like my workstation,
I
which is different.
I picture the cast like having fun during the shoot and laughing
I
and
think
sort of having a
I
good
think
time.
it depends on the cast. It depends on where. I think the first cast was stoked to just because it was the pandemic
Get the
and
hell
just to
out.
get
Yeah.
the hell out and just work and be at Maui and blah blah blah. But like the conditions were intense. The conditions have always been intense. Like the hardest one was this season actually, just because of the heat and the elements. And basically, what happened on the second season was I got so run down afterwards. I started working with Hoho, who's here, who's like my trainer, and basically, and that's how like, and I started like being like, I need to like prepare for this physically, like this is like I'm going to the Olympics or something, because after the second season, I was like, I don't think I'll ever not be tired again. I dug a hole, like some kind of physical hole for myself, and it was scary a little bit. So like I was like, I gotta get in better shape. My buddy turned me on to the Whoop, and I got into the Whoop because I was like, learning about, whatever, sleep habit, just all of the stuff that like the Whoop can, give you information about what you're doing right or wrong or where you're at. And I'm a kind of enthusiast. So like when I'm into it, like I start, like I got, I had a full year of free whooping because I got so many people on the Whoop. And so and Hoho was there. And then I got like 10 of this, at least like maybe 10 or more of the crew. They were all whooping. We were all in the same Whoop group. And so like every morning it was like, oh, you didn't get good sleep. I think it was helpful because people got competitive. And so like everybody was working toward getting healthy or being as healthy as they could in these conditions. But it also was like a very communal kind of thing. Like, you could always find something to talk about with everybody because, you saw, you'd wake up and see everybody's numbers and be like, oh yeah. Bobby slept like shit last night. Like his HRV is fucking cratering. Like I'm gonna give him shit, or whatever.
Is that because it was under such a tight crunch to get the thing shot and
it's just a long. It's like I'm directing every episode, so I don't have I'm always and the shoots go from day shoots to night shoots back to day shoots. And we just shot nonstop. I mean, this last shoot was 129 days or something.
That's a lot, yeah.
And so it started in February and went through August. There's never a break. You just are shooting. And the days are crazy long. They're crazy long. And it's like, and you're just giving, as the director, it's very depleting because you're trying to give energy to every, it's a big cast. You want to show up for everyone. And, I'm not a natural boss personality. I'm kind of more of a, creative introvert that can do the job. But like, it's just like, I've had to, it's like, it takes a lot. It's not my natural state. So like, I'm pushing myself to give the energy that I need, to give.
So you redline, you get on the Whoop, which we love, and then you get hooked up with Hoho. How'd you guys meet?
No, so I was at a gym in Santa Monica, and Mike would be at that gym as well for many years, and so we've probably known each other for probably a decade almost, and since Mike's very Norwegian in his ancestry, then he was very open to a fellow Norwegian at the gym, so it's easy to connect through that.
Well, also, I'm vegan. I've been a vegan almost 20 years. 20 years this year. Hoho is a vegan and also is very, he's like a trainer-sized guy. I don't know if people could see over their podcast, but like it's like seeing somebody who's vegan in the world of longevity and the Whoop, all the things that it's like putting on muscle, not, trying to stay fit, like, and also somebody who eats the same way I do. I just felt like I started gravitating toward him. He's not, not a trainer who's just like, you go and meet up 2 times. So it's like more of a full managerial, health managerial type of trainer. And that was something that I felt like I needed at the time. It was just like somebody who's going to like give me, like a full lifestyle makeover, I guess.
And Hoho, how'd you diagnose Mike when you guys first met?
Well, Mike was pretty good at being at the gym. Sometimes he wouldn't always be pushing it as hard as he could have. Is that okay to say? I guess when he came back from that second season, and he was pretty out of shape then, and I hadn't really been on like a shoot like that, so I didn't know where he was coming from, but I saw that it would definitely benefit him to eat a little bit better.
I've been in Italy, in Sicily for a year.
Maybe too much
wine and pasta.
Too much of that, and then to be better prepared for the next season. I've worked with some athletes, and it was sort of like when Mike was willing then to kind of like have that approach as an athlete more, where you prepare, you get ready for a season. You don't have a game each weekend, you have a game every day. And having been there now and seen what he actually has to do every day, like how he was, like now he's in amazing shape, and like how he was able to do the previous 2 seasons and not be in the kind of shape that he is now is to me incredible. Because, you know, the 12-hour days and what he said as well, like he's very engaged the whole time when he's on set for like 12 hours. He's giving so much of himself in terms of energy and enthusiasm. And like to do that over and over again for almost like 130 days, and that's only the shoot, is like the preparation and everything before is like, you need to be in incredible shape. And you know, he is now. He's been both before the work he put in, but also during the season and during the shoot. Like every time there was a chance to make, you know, adjustments that would improve him, if that was through workout or through diet or, you know, like yoga nidra to get better, like, you know, calm downs at night. He was open to do anything. And, you know, the result is, you know, how he got through it in such good shape that he is, you know, very impressive, I would say.
To underscore your fitness, you have a resting heart rate of 39 and an HRV of 104, which, you know, I'm guessing late 40s, early 50s. How old are you?
I'm 50. I'm 54. Thank you.
Okay, so that's unbelievable. Resting heart rate of 39.
Actually, my HRV is, my average this month is 121. Thank you.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, bro. It's weird. My HRV, ever since I've been in stress mode finishing the show, and literally since we finished, my HRV has like is spiking. Like it's like been in the
stress release.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I have such a low heart rate. I obviously am in shape, but like I think I'm a genetic outlier. I've had a low heart rate even before I was in shape.
Good shape.
So.
Yeah.
But obviously it's better now, I guess. Or more lower. I'm probably gonna just stop beating altogether at some point.
Do you do any types of breathing techniques or meditation or anything like that?
Well, this is my problem. Maybe you can help me.
Let's go.
I do have trouble. Like you'll see my sleep numbers. You're not bragging about my sleep numbers. I have problems.
75% sleep performance. We could do a little better than that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the problem is like, I kind of run manic. That's something that I'm hoping to tackle in this downtime and try to figure out habits that will help me.
Have you ever tried blue light blocking glasses?
Yeah, Hoho gets me on those. I need
with
to find
the red
some.
tint?
I need to find some with like prescription, because it's like, I mean, I need to get away from my phone. That would help. But like, I also feel like sometimes I'll have those on and I keep taking them off so I can read things because I can't. But like, I need to do that. That'd be good.
I think those glasses are one of the single best wind down routines. They
Really?
just naturally make you sleepy. Yeah. I mean, we did all these tests on them, so we ultimately ended up making our own. But I just found from wearing them that my sleep latency, which is the amount of time that it takes you to fall asleep, got way better. And my quality of sleep got way better. And nothing else changed. I still would look at my phone up until when I went to bed. I know,
but how do I do it if I need to get some like...
We'll figure out how to get you a prescription.
Yeah, well, it's just I'm just over the counter. Like, I just need a +2.
I think that'll make a huge difference because I would imagine you're someone who's looking at screens all day.
Yeah, I need to get away from my phone in general later in the day because I can get excitable with just any incoming email can send me back right up to DEFCON 4. So that's a problem.
Do you find that you're someone who spikes high and low, so to speak? Like you'll be screaming 1 minute and crying the next, and sort of all over the place with how you're managing the set?
No, I don't scream. I'm not a screamer. Yes, I'm an excitable person. I get enthusiastic about stuff. I get like excited. So like I don't experience it all as negative. So like. At the same time, those things are keeping you amped. And if you're running on adrenaline, it's like people are like, oh, well, you're stressed. And I'm like, it doesn't. I don't experience it as stress. I feel like just super engaged and super pumped. But then it's just hard for me to, unwind. And also, I'm creative, and in the night, I'm sometimes using the sleep to solve creative questions or come up with stuff, and I'm trying to innovate or whatever. And so my sleep is kind of restless in the sense that like I'm kind of floating in and out, and sometimes like thoughts will come in the sleep, and then I'll be trying to write them down or like that kind of thing. And I've always been that. I've always done it that way. And so like that obviously doesn't lead to great sleep hygiene. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It's just like, yeah. So I'm not great at the sleep hygiene, but it's like I never even heard about sleep hygiene until this freaking Whoop. And so like it's like now I'm like stressing about the sleep hygiene. But anyway, I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on the sleep.
No, you're doing well, man. I mean, your resting heart rate's 39. You're on the right train, whatever train you're on.
Right, but I do feel like I have Hoho here who takes like a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day and then 9 hours of sleep at night, and he's got 100% on this freaking sleep hygiene, and it's like, dang it, the hell! I want to win that one too. I never win sleep in the groups. I'm always at the bottom of this thing. I don't like that.
It's okay. You can sort by recovery or resting heart rate. You'll be at the top of those.
I know, but I want to be an all-rounder.
Let me ask you, throughout the day, are you drinking a lot of caffeine?
Sometimes, yes, I do.
Stimulants?
Sometimes I do that. Yeah, Hoho won't let me drink it after like. I have a plant-based caffeine drink headed this way right now. My buddy's getting for me, but in general, I try not to after like 1 o'clock or noon.
Okay, that's pretty good, especially if you're shooting late into the night that you're not drinking.
No. On the shoots, I'm doing it all day long. I'm drinking.
Oh, you are?
Well, just because it's literally. I'm running on. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's like. It's not a good lifestyle for that kind of thing, unfortunately. And the days to nights, night shoots, you start like at 6 p.m. and go to 6 a.m. It's like, it's brutal, bro.
And if I'm not mistaken, you had a bunch of people on the set wearing Whoop, and they were using it to, make sure they're staying healthy throughout the shoot and all that.
I think it did get people to be thinking about
for sure.
their overall health in the midst of these very difficult elements. It was a big defining of the overall experience, I think, having the Whoops. Because it was just, don't you think? It was everybody, it was like a real, like, and honestly, that's why I'm here today. Because it was like, I obviously I like the product, but I feel like it was, I've been asked to do like 100 podcasts since the show came out. I'm not doing.
I appreciate you doing this.
And part of it was just, I just feel like, the Whoop was part of the reason I got through it. It was like, I think that because for whatever reason I stumbled on this and then got everybody involved. And something that I learned, and this is something that Hoho is, beaten into me, is just like, when you're that tired and you're that depleted, the last thing you want to do is wake up before your call and go to the gym and do just like, that sounds crazy. And my entire career when I've been in production, I'm like, I'm not going to the gym. Are you crazy? And I realized that like, some of these things that were like, I have to go to bed, like, and like wanting to like have my sleep and like wanting to get that exercise. And it really, it got me to the end of the race in a way that I'm so much better in shape and like physically in a good place than I was the season before when I didn't have the Whoop and I wasn't doing all this shit. These things can help make you aware of your decisions, and sometimes you're just like, no, I think I won't, go out and have that third drink, or just whatever. Right. I need to go take care of myself. And as somebody who likes to have fun as well as likes to work and likes to like really embrace the experience, it's a good kind of modifier of behavior.
I'm grateful to have you on Whoop and Hoho and the whole crew, and in a lot of ways that's been the evolution of the company's history. Like we started with the world's best athletes, and now over time it's a really broad base of high performing individuals, and it creates a sense of accountability and gets people to get more sleep and take their health more seriously. And often it's hard driving people like you that you or me that sort of tell themselves, hey, I'm okay. I don't need XYZ, or yeah, sure, I can get by if I'm a little hungover tomorrow or whatever. And you just allow yourself to get into a pretty deep hole. Whereas when you see the data, it's like, okay, well, that is what it is. I'm not going to do this.
No, definitely. I mean, I just ran into a guy who runs the the show gets color time. And he owns this huge company, and he's the colorist of all of these huge shows and movies. And I hadn't seen him in like 2 years, and he was like all fit, like ripped, and like he's like older than me. He's like 60. And like I saw that he had a Whoop on, and I was like, okay, I know what happened. Like I was like, so tell me about your HRV, bro. So like, so it's cool to be a part of a company that's making that, helping people make those kind of changes.
Thank you. Hoho, it sounds like you guys are, let's see, walking, weightlifting, tennis, running, swimming. You got Mike doing a little bit of everything.
Well, the shoot is basically, when is he going to have the energy to do what? And how is it going to help him, being that health is really important, but it's the shoot is the most important. When is he going to be ready for the shoot, or when does he have to, be energetic? And it's all about the shoot, but then to try and also keep it interesting. Like obviously the weightlifting that's in there is a huge part of everything, but it's also, he won't do anything unless he finds it interesting enough to do it. So to keep stuff changing, and then not to just do the same thing all over again. And like Mike said, he loves having fun and do stuff. So and I'm very much the same way. So it's a good match in that way. Doing different new things is fun. So whatever we could do to mix it up, for sure, 100%.
And you've got a stage performance on there, pickleball, kayaking, hiking, right? You got a little bit of everything, man.
Well, sometimes I get really wound up when I'll be telling a story. I'll literally just be in a van ranting about something that happened, and then I'll go back and I'll realize I got strained. So then I'm like, I don't know what to put here. So I think stage performance was one time I was in a van, like bitching about something, and like I was telling some long-winded story about how I was like, this person was persecuting me. And then when I got back to the hotel, I was like, I got 6.7 strain doing that. I was like, I guess it was a stage performance. It was like, so some of it is like me approximating. You don't have everything under the sun. You should have a fill in the blank for strain.
Like the ability to enter
your own. Yeah.
Do you have like a sort of huddle with the cast at a certain point in time and kind of like a pump up speech, or is it sort of just business as usual? Like, just do your job?
No. I mean, we have like at the very beginning of the shoot, because everybody comes to the same place. We'll have like that kind of dinner where you give them a kind of kind of a pump up speech or something. But like day to day, it's like it's such a revolving door of actors. I stay there, but like the actors move in and out. Yeah, you do sort of feel like a coach, but like I'm not comfortable necessarily in that role. I'm more kind of like, I feel like I'm like there to like be the funny friend who's observing and kind of like giving feedback and like, laughing at when they're funny and like trying to like, it's like everybody has their different way of coaxing. My way is just like being entertained by them and trying to give them confidence while still trying to get, kind of maybe, push them in the direction that I feel like might be funnier or more real or whatever it is.
Well, I will say I feel like you get a lot out of your actors and actresses. When you're not getting what you need from an actor, what's your way of sort of elevating what you get from them?
If I'm not getting what I need because I feel like they can't do it, then I feel like it's my job to adjust. If I can't get what I need from them because they refuse to do it or something like that, then there's, then I feel like I need to like come correct and be like, what's the deal? You know what I mean? So every situation is different. I feel like I don't like to be a stress case. I don't like to be annoying. I don't want to annoy people. I want the set to be a good vibe, and because we live there, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't, I think what I'm doing is important in quotation marks, but I really don't think it's that important. I think it's just more, to me, it's a means to an end. It's like, I don't want to work most jobs. This is a job I want to work, and I like to travel. I like to go do. It's like if we're being able to keep doing it, then I feel like I've done my job, and like I don't really care about awards. I don't care about that. I just want to have a good time while we're doing it, and also, in the end, be proud of it and not ashamed of it at the when it's over. So like I try to use that attitude in those moments, and like I believe that you can do good work and stay cheerful or stay, don't get me wrong. It's like, I get strained bitching in the van on the way home. So I'm not like some, whatever, but like, I don't like a tense set, and I don't like conflict. So I figure out ways to get what I need going around that. It's just not my.
It seems like you're comfortable working with what you've got versus trying to force.
Yeah, and I think it's like, and that's the pleasure of being a writer. Is like on set, I'll be, I think in the very beginning, I can stress the actors out a little bit because I feel like, you get them. It's like having an instrument, and you're playing the instrument to see what noises it makes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at the beginning, I'll give a lot of notes just to see what they're able to do and like what their spectrum of stuff is, and then after a couple of days, I realized, okay, this is who this person is, and this is what they're going to give. And then I just kind of try to like lean into the pleasures that they're giving me instead of trying to force something out of it that is not going to be there,
It's clearly coming through. I got to ask you about the theme song because people want to know why the theme song changed.
Christo, our composer, he wanted to do something different. I like the idea of doing something different. I mean, obviously, you want every time it to become some viral like rave like hit, but at the same time, it's like chasing that is. I know it feels like for him, like as a writer, where you're just like, okay, somehow this last one worked huge. Like I don't want to just chase those things because then I'm just chasing a result. And I like this new tone of it. The show is darker this season. It's a little bit of a moodier piece. The other one was kind of operatic, and it kind of fit Italy. People are either going to like it, they're not going to like it, they're going to miss the old theme. But this is just the nature of having something succeed and you always having to compare it to that. And it's people are going to have their opinions.
It seems like it's also matching the new location.
Yeah, hopefully people will survive the fact that the main theme title hasn't been the same.
Let's play a little game here if you're comfortable, which is we're gonna take a character from season 3, and then we're going to assign some Whoop metric to them to sort of describe the character. Okay, can we play this game? This might be an easy one out of the gates, but let's do Timothy, the wealthy businessman who's vacationing with his family.
I think his recovery score is extremely low because he's taking his wife's lorazepam, and he is either sleeping in I don't think he's getting deep.
He's got long.
He's not getting restorative sleep.
But
he's not getting restorative sleep. Exactly. We need to raise his restorative sleep.
Okay. How about his wife, Victoria?
His wife, she is definitely probably her resting heart rate is high. Her resting heart rate is high. Not a lot of strain. Probably very low on the strain.
Yeah, not straining much. Saxon, the ambitious son.
Saxon, definitely. He's a gym bro, so I would probably say he's got some good strain. He doesn't have a Whoop on in the show, but I would like to think that probably now, somewhere out there in the world, he's whooping. I don't know if that's a good thing for Whoop or a bad thing, but like I think he's a Whoop guy.
We're comfortable with everyone wearing Whoop.
Yeah, we'll take
I feel like I saw a character, maybe it was more of a background character. I'm only 3 episodes in, but I feel like I saw a character this season wearing a Whoop. Is that accurate?
It was probably one of our crew members who just slipped into the show. But yeah, it's very possible there was a lot of Whoops on the set. So
how about Belinda?
Belinda, okay, so she would have probably high recovery, good sleep. I don't know about strain. She's probably healthy all around. She's in wellness, so like
she's probably got 30 things in her Whoop journal. You know,
she's
tracking
I think
all these different.
I think she's a very deliberative
herbal remedies.
She's a deliberative journaling.
Let's do the trifecta. Those 3 women. Okay, Jacqueline.
I think they're all pretty competitive about their scores. That's what I'm sure about. She probably has the best scores and wants to check in with her friends to make sure her scores are better than theirs every morning.
Yeah, for sure. And when you come up,
that's all I mean.
It does a little bit. Actually.
When you come up with 3 friends like this, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is like the kernel of inspiration for these 3? Because by the way, I think these 3 are super compelling, and like it all works, and it makes sense, and it's very believable, and you kind of just want to watch this thing slowly like fall apart. But what is the kernel of inspiration for 3
well,
characters?
It's like I think this is casting, but like like a lot of times with friend groups that they do these, like women at a bachelorette weekend or those kind of movies. There's the pretty one, there's the dumpy one, there's the whatever one. I don't know. They're always very, and I find that that's not very true to life. That like really you find when you see 3 women walking down the street, you'll be like, I couldn't even tell you which one is what. Like, it's almost like a blonde blob coming down the street, and they're all kind of, it's like a hydra of 6 arms of the same person. You know what I mean? Like that people are more affiliated toward how they're the same, or they look the same. They're attracted to this. There's the sameness or something. And I remember being on one vacation where I saw a group of women like this. And I was like, you can't even really differentiate who's who. And then one would like peel off, and then the other 2 would be left, and they would like start talking about the third. And you're like, and then I'd finally get a sense of who was who. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, okay. The show has these sort of Buddhist concepts that kind of like, or as an organizing principle of it. I was just thinking about doing something that had a little bit of that where, they come in and they're all with the same kind of energy, and they're all really like, extroverted and like happy, and then like as the season wears on, you realize just how how different they are, and but the differences are in their life choices and stuff, not in how they look necessarily.
When you say you like to organize through a Buddhist principle, what does that necessarily mean in execution?
Well, I was just for the stories this season, I was trying to like I've done whatever, I've had my Buddhist self-help phase, and I was just trying to, you're just trying to generate story and having it kind of connect to some sort of thematic idea. And since we were in Thailand, it was just like this idea of identity as this trap and like different ways to explore that. And so the main couple stories with, the family and Walton Goggins and the 3 women was just kind of playing with this idea of identity as this kind of tragic trap for some of them.
Yeah, some of the language I've noticed that like the therapists use is clearly like very specific language, right?
Well, I find that true of these like wellness places, that a lot of them, lean in toward a kind of more, non-Western medicine kind of thing, obviously, and have, some sort of underlying, Buddhist principles sometimes. I mean, a lot of it is very sort of, bastardized for, whatever. It felt true to a lot of these places, especially a place in Thailand will have those kind of therapists.
There's a great line like to the character Rick, played by Walton, where the therapist, it says something like, well, anger is a mask for sadness or something. And then you see him all of a sudden like really wrestling with his identity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's true. That's sometimes, I think especially with guys like that, like it's like, I wanted to create this kind of hard-boiled kind of character who's, kind of a Jack Nicholson type, and how, a lot of those masculine fronting underneath it is, there's a lot of pain. And right. So, and how, like, you call someone on that, that underneath, like, this, like, kind of bravado, this sort of male sort of, like rigid toughness or something, that they're like, they're crying about mommy or something,
I think Rick we're going to define with with a consistently high stress score and maybe
Definitely.
Feels like a low HRV character. Is that fair? You got a great group of characters this season. I'm excited to see how they all come together. A device that you've used in all 3 seasons is the sort of starting with some notion of the tragedy, right? Like the first 5 minutes is someone turning up dead, right? Or
I mean, it worked the first season, and then like you're trying to figure out what is the thing that what is the show other than it's a hotel, and so like it felt like maybe that as a sort of narrative device was the thing that kind of gave it a kind of continuity from season to season. If it was just a character pieces and it didn't have that kind of hook, I don't know if I don't know if the show would have, because I've written those kinds of things. It's harder to get an audience for that. I like touching on, these kind of what creates a tragic situation ultimately, amidst these other stories that are just kind of more slice of life.
Well, it's interesting. This season has a little bit more intrigue in the sense that it opens with, gunshots, and then it seems like maybe there's a dead body or two. But so then you're left with this question of, well, like who's shooting the gun, as well as you're left with the question of who the bodies are. Or
I felt like I something about Thailand. I was like, I think this season is a little bit more like who's the killer as much as it is who's gonna die.
Well, this has been great, man. I have to say I love the show. It's
awesome.
No surprise that it's doing really well.
Thank you, man.
And it's out now on HBO, or do we have to call it Max?
It's on HBO and Max. It's on Max streaming and HBO, the cable network.
Where can folks find you if they want to learn more about the great Mike White?
Wikipedia. I don't know. I'm not.
Maybe just watch your show. Okay, fair enough.
Media. Yeah, you can try to hunt me down, but other than
try to find you in a Whoop group maybe. And Hoho.
Well, it's my real name, which is not Hoho. Halvar Sigmundstad at Instagram and TikTok.
Well, season 3, White Lotus, out now on HBO. This has been fun, guys. I really appreciate